guys? It is Mitchell or Deity, and today we're doing an updated Headhunt tier list. So these are going to be the characters I suggest picking. I am streaming live on both Twitch and YouTube right now, so I can get information from them if they think differently about my opinions, and we'll talk about it as we go through. Each character will just do one by one. I've been playing a decent amount of RTA over the last little bit, and last time before I made the guide, I didn't play a whole lot, and we just had a bunch of changes. Now with the changes and me playing, I can give my overall opinions on each character. Ability of Fiend, I'm going to put in the second tier, so just ignore the tier names. This is a result of Tristan Wolf being in chat. Tristan Wolf made these. He told me to put these, so it's his fault. Just look at it as top picks, middle picks, kind of good picks, not good picks. Okay, but just ignore the actual names. So a Tywin is probably my #1 pick for new players outside of Death Through the Ray. So most people have Death Through the Ray. Schneel coming out is not going to make Death Through the Ray a bad character. I don't know why people are thinking that, but Death Through the Ray would still be a super high priority pick, but a Tywin is up there as probably the #1 pick because most people have Death Through the Ray. Apocalypse Ravi, I would say, is like middle tier. She's not bad, but she's not great right now. Arbiter Vildred would be in a pretty high tier. He's very, very good. Archdemon Shadow, I don't think you should pick her. She may get a buff. So one thing that Tristan Wolf also said is we're going to be getting a balance update patch notes in like 2 weeks. The last balance patch was huge. We had 6 ML5s get buffed. This next one, I don't see it personally. I don't see us getting that many. It might be 1 or 2 characters. So yes, there's a chance that one of the characters gets changed in that, and you may want to change your decision. So if you want to wait to finalize your Headhunt for a while, it's not a bad idea. But as of right now, this will be the list. And if any of those characters are really good, I'll just make an individual video saying that X, I would say maybe pull this character instead. But if you pull one of these characters that are in the list at the top, it's not gonna be a bad thing. Move your camera perhaps? Okay, fine, I'll move my camera. Good call. Should have said that earlier. I don't even know how to move my camera. I don't even think I can move my... Oh, it's locked. Okay, here we go. All right, I'll put myself up here. Okay, so next up, Architect Laika. Do not suggest pulling her. She takes ridiculously high tier gear. She's easy to counter. She is a strong character. She can one-shot anything in the game, but the chance of you actually getting her to do what you want her to do isn't going to be great. And I also want to preface this that this is mostly RTA focused. If there is a character that's super good in Arena or Guild Wars, I'll talk about it, but I will be putting RTA at the top of the overall list. But if characters are at the top, that means they're good in everything. So being RTA, Arena, Guild Wars, it's not going to make a big difference in terms of where they're going to be put. Astromancer Elena, Mort just is better than her in every capacity. Make sure to say names loud and... All right, make sure to say tier names loud and clear. I'm not going to read the tier names. All right, you guys can see those. Okay, so next up, Bellion. Bellion is great. The best Bellion right now is using a limited artifact, in my opinion. It's the Bellion with 3F, because you can build her full HP with some speed. You can use her as pseudo debuffer, but the reason Bellion's good is because she makes it where your opponent cannot have souls. So Taiga Hell's Ancient Book on mages is a very annoying thing to fight. It makes it where you usually don't get a turn. She helps prevent that, but most players that play in that playstyle pre-ban her. So Bellion is a fantastic character, but I don't know how well, if you're a newer or middle game player, are going to be able to set her up to use. Blood Moon Haste is going to be up in that tier as well. He's super, super good, but there are a lot of things that counter him now. With the release of ML Ilanav, obviously Death Through the Ray still beats him, and he's still really good, though. He used to be like a first pick style character. Now he's more of a later draft style pick character. He is easy to counter. Briarwitch Assaria, I am going to put in the top picks this time. Having a character to prevent revive. I've been working with a lot of players on their accounts doing RTA sessions. So I do like coaching sessions and stuff in my Discord. And Briarwitch has been really, really nice for new players. Don't be mean this time. Last tier list, I told you guys to be mean as possible. Be helpful this time. You don't have to don't only mean comments. But Briarwitch Sarah, preventing revive, having a character you could soul burn to, put unbuffable and defense break on is really, really nice to have. So she's going to go up toward the top. She does require pretty good gear, and her best artifact is a limited artifact. It's Guiding Light to make it to where you can't get hit would be your best bet as a newer player. A lot of people do build her insane speed. You don't have to. I personally don't build her on the crazy speed because I do not cleave. Next up, Commander Pavel. He's not very good. I would not grab him from this. In terms of maybe for PvE fast farming, we could put him in the makes my PP feel funny category, which is like middle tier. He's okay, but he's not great. Conqueror Lilius is going to go ahead and go in the pretty feat category. Dark Corvus, he's okay for Guild Wars still. I'd put him in that middle tier. He is usable. Death Dealer Ray, again, still at the top. Death Dealer Ray, I would say, is first priority. Even with Schneel coming out, Death Dealer Ray technically almost becomes stronger because you'll be picking him late draft, meaning that he will always be banned. So if you get Death Dealer Ray, you probably won't get to play him as much as originally if you had him before Schneel, because he'll always get banned. Because the way the draft order works is you'll pick your first 4 characters, and your opponent will pick their first 3, or you'll pick your first 3, opponent picks their first 4. If you pick Death Dealer Ray plus another character and your opponent's 4 characters are weak to Death Dealer Ray, they're going to ban it. And if they say you have 2 picks left, you pick Death Dealer Ray plus something else, and they try to pick a Schneel against you, they're going to ban your Death Dealer Ray every time, because if you just ban Schneel, your Death Dealer Ray would solo their team if you drafted properly. So Death Dealer Ray is still insanely good, and he will still be good for Guild Wars, Arena, everything you need him to be good for like your initial climbing. I still think he's going to be the best character from this, but again, most new players already have him. Desert Bulbasaur would not take him. Designer Lilibet, this is one I did not talk about last time. Designer Lilibet, super, super good. She's one of the few defense scaling damage dealers, which allows you to use gear you wouldn't technically normally use. There's how many defense scaling damage dealers are there? New players should get them from the other source, though. Okay, tell YouTube how Door Corvus makes you feel. Okay, so Designer Lilibet, she's one of the best, if not the best, cleansing character in the game, and she also got a buff to where her skill 3 ignores 50% of your opponent's defense, which is super, super good. She doesn't do that much damage if your opponent has ML Illinev, but other than that, she is very, very nice to have. So I definitely think Designer Lilibet was probably going to be in the top of this tier. There's only going to be 4 or 5 characters in the top pick. So Dragon Bright Senyu you cannot pick. Dragon King Sharoon is a solid character. She's good into Mort, she's good into Death Dealer Ray, and anything that stuns, she's good into. But she's like the bottom end of it. She has a really good debuff. I'm a big fan of this character. I picked her multiple times today. But overall, we'll put her here. I don't think she deserves a lower tier. She is really good. So sadly, you cannot pick Imperial Illinev. Both Senyu and Illinev would be like at the very top of the list. So Eternal Wonder Ludwig is really good. I'm going to put him higher this time. But last time I did like a situational tier. So Eternal Wonder Ludwig is amazing if you are a cleave style player. If you are not, if you're a new player, I do not suggest getting this character if you don't have multiple 300-ish speed characters. I highly do not suggest it. You will not have a good use case out of him. Phaseless Lytica is still okay. I don't think I want to put her in the worst tier. She's usable. She can reset Amiki. She can reset other characters. Most people don't use her because there's better picks and they'll have a wider roster. But if you wanted to use her, you could. She just takes really good gear. She needs to be fast. She needs to have decent effectiveness. And she needs 100 crits. So you need to be on crit chance, neck, effectiveness ring to utilize her in the way that she can perform in the current meta. And the bad thing with her is there are just so many other characters. I'm going to knock her down. No one should be taking Flitica from this. She probably could be used as a 4th, 5th pick, but she is not worth it. Fallen Cecilia is currently one of the most out-tempoed tanks in the game. Every other tank is better. That's why she always falls in this lowest tier. She's not the worst character ever, but I do not suggest getting her. She probably is going to be buffed, though. This is a character that it's almost guaranteed in the next balance patch, right? At this point, it's Fallen Cecilia is almost guaranteed. So, again, maybe wait to make your decision, but Fallen Cecilia, I think, is the highest chance of getting buffed. Do you think Schneel coming out will cuck TML cleave since DDR first pick? Yes, it will. So Schneel coming out will just change the draft order of DDR. So any early DDR pickers, no, it won't, because if you pick Schneel, they'll just cleave you. No, that's the thing there. So you wouldn't even pick Schneel into that. So in a high tempo style match, you're not going to pick Schneel to counter a TML cleave. It's not going to do anything. Right? You get immunity, but they're going to kill you before anything happens because TML is going to kill you. So no, it probably won't change that at all. How good is Heli and Lua? Do not pull her. Arceti is not pickable. So Heli and Lua, I'm actually doing a new build on her on stream today, and she's actually been performing rather well. Do not pull her though. Okay, I'm just memeing around. I put her on protection set with low speed, and she's actually working really good. I'm going to keep testing it and try to come up with different draft orders, but do not pull this character. She's not good. Oh wait. You can't pick her anyway, but don't pull her on banner. Okay, you can't get her from Headhunt anyway, but do not pull her on the banner. All right, Judge Kisei. I think Judge Kisei deserves the lowest tier. Do you guys disagree with me on this? Anyone tried Heli and Lua, Navy Captain Landy? Yeah, I did that multiple games today. I can show some of my games after this. All right, Last Rider Crow is pretty good. Overall good buff. He gives immunity to your team, which helps you fight against Ambitious High when his overall damage is pretty good. He's not good into ML Illinev again. Almost every one of these characters got like a huge nerf because of ML Illinev. but he's really good. He gives a turn reset. He pairs really well with ML Politos, and he's really good with ML Flan. So you pick Flan, you pick him, it cuts off a Solitaria pick potentially. He's really good. So I'm going to definitely put him more toward the top. Lionheart Surmi I'm putting in the middle tier. A lot of like players who are not too high ranking are probably going to say she's good. It's because they don't know how to fight her. But when she gets picked against you, she's one of the easiest characters to fight in the game once you have a widened roster. So I do not suggest pulling her. She is really cool, though. Little Queen Charlotte, I'm going to put her in the same tier. She gives mitigation. She could sometimes be used to one-shot and extinct something. She's probably pretty good for Guild Wars Arena. Both these two characters are. But if they're only good in Guild Wars or Arena, I'm going to put them down here, where these characters up here are good in anything. You can use them RTA, Guild War, Arena. So ML Bologna, guys, what do you think of ML Bologna? I almost want to bump her up a tier. She's almost no one picks her in RTA that I see, because right now ML Landy's gone. No one's using Wukong for any reason. I don't see a world where you'd ever pick a Wukong in the current meta with Asplane existing. I don't think she's great, but she's fantastic for PvE and she's good for Arena and Guild Wars. I'd say she's better than these three at least, so I'm going to put her up there. Maid Chloe, she's okay. I'm not going to talk much about her. Effector as Reviver. ML Ken, I'm going to put him in the spot even though he's terrible right now. How did ML Ken go from being so good to so bad so quick? Like, he was super good for like one season, and he is... I almost think I'm going to put him there because he is pickable. If your opponent picks all crit characters and drafts like a potato, it's not bad. You can put him behind Abigail and potentially win some things. Yeah, Mort existing killed him too. I know Mort, obviously, but he was dead before Mort. It's because all the non-crit characters, Blood Moon Haste and ML Senya killed. They killed ML Ken. But now they're just putting him further in the grave. Meteor Cowric, I'd say he goes in a pretty high tier. I'd say Meteor Cowric is... with Harsetti pickers and everything, he's not a bad character. ML Landy is still going to go in this tier. If they don't pick Mort, a last pick ML Landy is very strong. ML Landy is good for PvE. ML Landy is good for Guild Wars, Arena. I'd always say ML Landy is worth getting. I'm actually going to put her a little bit higher up on this list. I know it's crazy because all the flans out there right now, but depending on your playstyle and everything, ML Landy could be just as good as Euphine. I actually changed my ML Landy to an Injury Unity set, or Injury Unity, and she's on Holy Sack. And when they pick Mort, I pick it into the Mort. It was pretty funny. ML Luna you cannot pick. Operator Cigarette's the worst tier. Pirate Captain Flan, I'll put her in the middle tier. She could be used, but it's basically using a worse Silverblade Araminta now. I would not suggest using Pirate Captain Flan over Silverblade. Remnant Violet's just going to go in that middle tier too. Requiem Rowana, if you have the playstyle, Requiem Rowana could be very good, so I'm going to put her with Ludwig. Ruel of Light. Ruel of Light's new buff is actually pretty solid. I'm putting her above ML Haste. I think Ruel of Light, again, depending on her playstyle, if you're like a tank down style player, she's really annoying to fight. So Ruel is, with her buff, really good reviving character. Sage Ball and Cezanne is just always middle tier good. He's like top of middle tier. Cfano Politus. So this is one of the other top picks. So my advice to you guys, if you're newer players, you're going to go in and either decide Death Dealer Ray, A Tywin, or Politus. If you're a newer player, A Tywin's easier to gear. Say you already have DDR, A Tywin's easier to gear than Politus. You'll be able to use A Tywin every single game. And Politus is going to be maybe if you're already having decent luck on speed, or you are confident that you're going to understand the game. ML Poly, I would say above A Tywin for some players, and other players I'd say that otherwise. But these three characters, you cannot go wrong picking it. Bryce Saria would just be if you want to do it. So Silverblade Araminta, guys, does she deserve this tier? With Schneel coming, who do you recommend we pick between DDR and A Tywin? That Dealer Ray's still going to be stronger. You could pick A Tywin more, though. So I would say, okay, so with Schneel coming, if you don't have Death Dealer Ray, I would pick A Tywin. A Tywin you could pick every single game. So with Schneel coming, maybe do that. But the thing is, A Tywin will make it through the draft. If you pick Death Dealer Ray, he'll be banned every single time you pick him if you pick him properly now. So I think Silverblade Araminta deserves this tier now because she will always be banned. If you pick her in the right spot, she's always going to be banned. She's that good. Solitaria is going in this tier too. You guys cannot talk me out of it. Solitaria, with the new flan being picked literally every single game of RTA, she moves up. I mean, how much... I pick Solitaria more than probably almost any other character anymore. I don't have both S Poly and A Tywin. Who should I pick? Probably A Tywin. Do not put the child in that tier. Oh, that makes my PP feel funny tier. That's a good point. I forgot the tier list names. So Specimen says... what do you guys think? He's good if you get the draft off. But Specimen says probably deserves this. Let me know if you disagree. Spectre Tenebria is middle tier. Most of you will already have her because of going through the game. If you don't have her already, you don't need to get her. If you've already beat everything, she just helps with Abyss. Spirit Iceline is going to go in the middle tier. She's not bad. She's an extra reviving character. Strays can go on that tier 2 as a 270. If you're an or like more in-game player and can build a proper one, he could still be okay. And somebody's like, oh, you could PvE one-shot everything. If you're a new player, you're not going to be able to PvE one-shot with Strays for like a year. So I don't think it's a great pick for you. And there's no point to one-shot most of the content in the game because you're going to farm Wyvern, and then you're going to farm maybe Banshee, and then you're going to farm Rift. So there's no point to have the one-shots for the other hunts. So the whole idea of getting Strays for one-shots doesn't make sense to me. So I will say Sylvan Sage Vivian is definitely high. Sylvan Sage Vivian is really good. As a character to play against... I just tuned in. What did it say? Read the tiers. Tristan said, put these tiers, so that's the tiers I'm using. Sylvan Sage Vivian, really good. She can't be debuffed. One thing, she's weak to Seafana Poly, and she's weak to Solitaria. But if your opponent picks Death Dealer Ray A Tywin, she's like one of the best characters to fight these two. So Sylvan, very, very good right now. Top Maluka for cleavers, I'm going to say she's going to go here. She can maybe go in the same slot as this. If I put her lower, anybody that's like high legend is going to be like, what is this tier list? But if you're not high legend, what are you going to do with Tomika, realistically? So I'm putting Tomika down here. I don't care. She can be good for that one specific style if you have the gear for it, but I'm guarantee 99% of people watching this are not going to have that gear. I still think Kayron's up really high. I do think Kayron's up really high. You just have to pick him correctly. And there's probably a lot more games I could play him. So the full effect res ML Kayron, full bulk, it's pretty decent. I got to put him down here, but I do like him. I already won one game with him today. Urban Shadow's Shu, still, I think she'll come back in the meta at a certain point. Do I put Zio at the top? I personally never pick Zio anymore, but for a new player that doesn't have the speed to contest, if you have to ask if you want Hellion Lu, the answer is no. Exactly. That is great. Sylvan Sage, if you have the gear, Sylvan Sage will have the gear if you just do Abyss. You just put the Abyss sword, helmet, chest, and ring on. You're good. You have a Sylvan, and you do 2 Wyvern pieces. You'll have the gear for Sylvan. Even if it rolls a little bit of effectiveness, that Sylvan's still usable and will work all the way up to Champion RTA. I've done it on multiple accounts. There was one account I was playing with somebody the other day, and I built a Sylvan Sage Vivian, and it had 56 effectiveness, then steamrolled everything. So it works just fine. You'll have the gear. So if you pick Sylvan Sage Vivian, you get the gear for free for it. Okay, so that's all the ML5s though. That is all of them, correct? Yep. So that is my tier list. But what do you guys think about Zio? Zio's nice. And Zio into Harsetti is good. Maybe that's why I don't pick Zio, because I pre-ban Harsetti. So Zio is super nice for Arena to be able to fight the Harsetti comps. I will say that. So Zio definitely still at the top because he allows you to have 300 speed with only having 250 speed, or 240 speed even. So I think Zio deserves the top. Same with Briar Witch Asarius, so you can fight reviving comps. Both of them are great and a guaranteed unbuffable and strip. And if you have a soul burn, Asarius is going to help you fight the immortality comp characters like Arbiter Vildred. Not really a Miki. I guess it's just BBK. It's RB and BBK. Bloodblade Karen. Those are the 2 characters. So this is the overall tier list. Let me try to put the names on for those of you guys that want to see the names so you can take a picture. Show the grade and show role and attribution. Sure. Oh, well, made it uglier. Okay, but we'll do a little scroll through here. So do you guys disagree with anything I put? We'll do one little last thing, but let's just go through this. So Death Dealer Ray. These 5 are first picks. A Tywin's probably going to be my number 1 pick for most players asking. Otherwise, see Phantom or Death Dealer Ray would be great. If you're a more further on player, these 2 characters are good. Down further, though, Designer a little bit, probably just as good as these 2. Designer a little bit. She is the very top of the pretty feat category. All 5, 6... These 6 characters are fantastic. And honestly, Solitaria might go above these 2. But even this whole list, every single one of these characters is great. It's just these 2 next to each other are for like in-game players. All these characters are okay. And then the don't picks, I wouldn't pick any of these. Yeah, I'm happy with this list. Conk too high. And as a 4th, 5th pick, Conqueror Lace is still fine. Move Dilly up. You think Dilly deserves up here? I could agree. I think Dilibet could go up there. She's really good. Spez higher. Where's Spez? Oh, Spez was... Yeah, Spez deserves middle tier at least. I agree. I agree with the Dilibet. I fight her almost every game, so I see it. That Landy not being in the burn it because I hate her. Okay, well, it's not that bad. Dilly over Bryce Area for sure. I agree. Dilibet does more than Bryce Area, but these 3 characters like it. One stops debuffs, one stops reviving, one stops speed. So these characters all have insanely high value. And they don't take good gear. That's like the winning part of them. You can make it work with lesser tier gear too. Was Dilbet buffed? Yes, and her buff is really, really good. Make a tier list for ML Blessing? ML Blessing. I'd have to just do a whole new guide for that, which I plan on doing anyway. I might start it today, depending on if I get all the Raid Shadow Legends channel stuff done. Okay, give me 1 sec. Wait, I'm recording a video. Sorry, I'm recording a video. So let's go ahead and wrap up. Any other top picks only for RTA? No, these characters be using anything. So that's how this list goes. Top picks are like usable in whatever you want, but this is RTA focused tier list. Next up, like all the PvP in this game's the same. All right, if you're good at RTA, you're gonna be good at Guild Wars and Arena. So the characters that are good for RTA are gonna be good for Guild Wars and Arena. So the difference between an RTA tier list and a Guild War and Arena tier list, it's all the same. It's all PvP. It's just an RTA. Some characters don't really work because it's not a controlled environment. But if you pick these characters, they work into like everything. That's the idea of them. And same with these. These ones work into not quite everything, but they're either a counter pick or generally solid characters. And these characters are like the niche things they use into specific things. So the reason APOC Ravi's down here is because of all the injury units in the game now. Twisted Island Karen, I think almost deserves this tier. It's very hard for me not to put him there. But yeah, that is my overall. Just make a disclaimer for ML Headhunt with new players. ML Blessing is available. ML Blessing is available. What, you mean ML Blessing 2? So get a newbie see this and grab DDR and Headhunt instead of ML Blessing. Then they'll take Sylvan Sage Vivian. They'll grab this and they'll grab Sylvan Sage Vivian from Headhunt. That's not bad. That wouldn't be a bad thing. Won't DDR be dead after next character release? No, DDR is not going anywhere. Guys, Death Dealer Ray can solo team. So as a 4th, 5th pick character, okay. Your opponent 4th, 5th picks Death Dealer Ray and another character, and you have 1 pick left, and you pick Schneel. If he bans Schneel and you let DDR through, you lost. DDR will solo you. If you pick DDR in the right spot as a 4th, 5th pick character, and you pick Schneel, they just ban Schneel. The only thing it changes is you're not picking Death Dealer Ray 1, 2, or 1 or 2. So you don't pick DDR on 1 or 2. Yeah, exactly, Melo. I've been saying this for days. It unironically, Schneel makes Death Dealer Ray even stronger because he will be picked safer. Right now, you can slam Death Dealer Ray, but the thing is, your opponent has a whole draft to counter him. Now, after that, though, once that happens, they won't early pick DDR. They're going to smart pick Death Dealer Ray in a position where he's good, and it makes him stronger. So Schneel technically is making Death Dealer Ray stronger in RTA. And Death Dealer Ray doesn't get put on arena defenses anyway, so it doesn't change anything. Like, the only thing that Schneel does is counter DDR. And like someone was talking about the Tolmika cleave earlier. Death Dealer Ray and the Tolmika cleave, you're not going to pick Schneel into that. Why would you ever pick Schneel into that? The Tolmikas could just one-shot your Schneel probably. So your Schneel's just going to die before the Death Dealer Ray needs to do his stuff. Like, it doesn't help you at all. So Death Dealer Ray is not going anywhere. Whatever coping you're coping right now, it's not happening. Then you can gamble on it. Yeah. So again, it doesn't change anything. Death Dealer Ray is going to still be one of the characters that controls this game. Is DDR easy to build? Yes, he is easy to build. It's hard to build a good one, but it's easy to build a usable one. Okay, that is the tier list, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll do one last go through. Hopefully you heard what I was talking about through this. It's not too long of a video. I didn't want to make it 40 minutes. I just wanted a quick 20-minute video. But I gave my opinion on each character. If you guys have questions, you can comment them. It's better to ask in Discord because my YouTube comments, I have so many videos now that people are still commenting on old new player guides. So it's hard to see all the comments and keep up with them. I try my best, but I don't actually try my best. I don't try at all. But if you have questions, find me on stream. That's the best way you can get answers to things. Thank you for watching. Swim Deity, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.